Hey y'all, what's up? Before we get started, make sure that you're connected with CreyTV on Facebook, on Instagram, or on YouTube. Alright, there's a lot of French pronunciation videos that are coming up and also some helpful tips videos on different topics. But surrounding a little bit of this political talk, especially within the United States, I wanted to share just a little bit of the reason, if I should say reasons, as to why I did not vote. So let's get started with this video. As a citizen, why did I not vote? I think that there should be more than two parties. What I mean by that is there should be more than two parties that make it to the top, because I do know that there's more than two parties. Now, there's only those two parties that make it to the top, and one of the things is that both parties have key things that they want to focus on, which is good. But both parties also ignore other issues, other things that they should focus on as well. They really just brush it under the rug. In high school, I was in the choir, like the chorus. And I remember I am a soprano. I sing soprano. And the soprano section was always the melody section. And so we always had to wait for the altos and the tenors and the bass to find their parts and to learn it. Now, one thing that I loved about chorus is whenever all those parts came together, there was just something so beautiful, so wonderful about that union of all the parts together. And for me, seeing that division, that obviously there's some things that both sides are not mentioning, are not wanting to focus on, that was a turn off for me in terms of voting. As an immigrant, as someone who migrated, why did I not vote? Now, I understand that you want to protect your country. You want to protect the land of the country. You want to protect the people within it. That's correct. That's fine. That's a good thing to do. As a leader, I would want that too if I was leading a group of people or a country. But one of the things also that we need to be wise about is that we cannot just block off everybody or the large crowd of people just because there are some people who are coming in with bad intentions. There are so many reasons why people migrate. People go from one country to another. And I'm not just talking about people who go from a country outside the U.S. and come into the U.S. I'm talking about even people from the U.S. who go as immigrants to another country. Some people might be moving to be closer to family, to have health at a lower cost or at a better health. Found love online and they want to connect with the person with whom they connected with. They want to see them face to face. They want to get married. Career wise, it's a better choice for them to be at a different place right now in a different country, to just live, to just be at a place where they don't have to think too much, or maybe their country, there's things that are going on that are wrong. They just want to move. A lot of people just want to move to live, to be able to have a life, to be able to work, to be able to take care of their family, of themselves, experience something new, to change scenery, to escape some regulations and stuff like that in a certain country because it's less regulations in another country. And I also I'm a firm believer that people can change. I'm reminded of the story about the young man who went into the church. I forget where it happened. Who went into the church during their Bible study at night, who wanted to shoot them, and I recall I saw in a news article, in a video, I believe, I saw whenever they were questioning him, the young man said that at some point I didn't want to do it because they were so nice to me. They were just genuinely nice to me. I felt like I shouldn't do it. So that shows to me that there's a possibility for people's intentions to change, for you to change that, So perhaps what are you doing to change the intentions of people, that's maybe something we can consider. But like I said, I do understand protection of your people, of your land, but also let's be wise as to just blocking everybody off. There's different reasons why people go from one place to another. We need to be welcoming as well. As a Christian, why did I not vote? Now, we can't deny that this country where we're in, the United States, was somewhat heavily influenced by the Bible, by Christian values from the start, from when really everything started to be put into place, the regulations, the rules and everything, the way the land should be. It was influenced by the Bible. So it's something, to me, you can't just ignore that and rub it off or not want it, because that's one of the core roots, the core support and rocks of the country. You gotta, to some extent, acknowledge that and understand the people who want to uphold that truth. But also, I have seen, for instance, and I'm surprised that I'm seeing this in 2018, I've seen pastors who have used Bible verses in the wrong context, all just for them to uphold the agenda that they want people to uphold. I was very shocked to see that. And I've been to diverse churches. I've been to mega churches where the entire stadium is the church. There's 30 members. I've been to churches where there's 6 members. Praise and worship is like almost like dead silence, the whole entire service. Hallelujahs everywhere, and you hear trumpets sounding. You see people dancing, all sorts of colors everywhere. There's graffiti on the wall everywhere. I've been to diverse churches, and it's just so surprising to me, and I've seen this on both sides. But especially Bible verses, we got to understand the context of it. Why was it said that way, that verse? Who was it said to? Who was speaking? All of that. Because honestly, for those who haven't read the Bible, or those who are reading it, the Bible is really it's a whole bunch of stories, a compilation of different stories that have happened. And so you gotta understand the context of the story to understand what the verse is and what it means and why it's important, why it was put there for that reason. And so, that's the one thing that was definitely off-putting. I didn't like that at all. Also, one thing that I noticed is one side has a whole lot of love to give, but also it's just too open to everything, like almost like there's no limitations, there's no rules, nothing, while the other side has very little love to give, barely any, yet they acknowledge the fact that, okay, there's boundaries, there's limits, you're going a little too far, stuff like that. And so it was just like, man, both of y'all have really something that's so faulty. And so it reminds me of Jesus. Whenever the story of the prostitute, there was a story about a prostitute in the Bible where she was brought in while Jesus was just talking with different people. He was teaching them. And she was brought in by all these people who made the law and everything. They were like, you know what? This lady, she did all this adulterous stuff. She's an adulterer. She's going around. She's just disgracing the community. What would you say about this, all that? Because in our books, it says that we stoned this lady. We need to stone her and all that. And Jesus literally, all he said was, he looked at them after he looked at them and he said, listen, if any of you have never ever sinned, have never ever done anything wrong, please do me an honor and be the first person to hit her with a stone, to throw anything at this woman. And they all one by one left because they knew they couldn't do it. And then Jesus went up to the lady. He said, did anyone condemn you? No. So I'm not condemning you either. But go, but sin no more. Don't do it again. So that's the thing that I love about Christ is he It's like, this reminds me of when it says, look at your own faults first before you look at the faults of others, before you start pointing fingers, which both sides are doing. And so look at your fault first before you look at the fault of the other. Jesus, he looked at the fault of the people first before they, like, what about you guys? Why aren't you acknowledging your faults first before you look at what she's doing? And then he stood up for the lady. And then he still told the lady, listen, set some boundaries, set some limits in your life, be self-disciplined. So that's the thing I love about Christ, is he stood up for you, he stands up for you, he loves you, he shows that in his actions and the way he stands up for you, but also he won't tolerate you going and, ruining things for yourself. He still wants to be able to make you understand that you gotta set some boundary, something that can help to better your life. So that, to me, just being able to see the back and forth, no love here, it's like, it's hard it was just so uninspiring to vote either way. As I was preparing for this video, I thought to myself, man, there's going to be people who are definitely going to comment, who are going to have a question to me, just some type of comment towards me regarding this video. And so I jot down a couple of those, and just to try to answer them already for you guys. And so the one that I thought of the most was, man, you just talking about all this Jesus stuff. I always bringing up this Jesus stuff in Christianity and whatever, yada, yada, yada. Well, I bring him up because I think he's a pretty good example. He's a very good example, actually, very solid example of how we can unite, what we can each contribute, and how really we can live in peace with each other. Honestly, there was a story where a whole crowd of people came to just hear him speak. A whole lot of them. I think it was thousands of them, right? And so the people who were working with Jesus were like, hey, like, what are we going to do? How are we going to feed all these people? I ain't got that much money. You know what I'm saying? And so there was a little boy who had a couple, like, bread and some fish, but it wasn't enough for everybody. Jesus just prayed over it, and he said, okay, go ahead and start passing it out. And there's like nothing in that basket, barely anything. They kept passing it out. Literally everyone got a piece. Everyone. Just Jesus multiplied everything just as a miracle, And the one thing that I love about Christ here, because the people in the crowd, they might be going, oh my God, why did she get that part of the fish? Why didn't I get the middle part? Why am I getting the head? There's barely anything to eat here. You know what I'm saying? But Jesus, he worried about the basic. He worried about making sure that everybody has food. Everybody is fed. Not how much you're fed, what part you're fed, but everybody gets fed. He doesn't support laziness either. He says that, listen, I will bless the work of your hands. So you still got to put in some work. You sow something, so you reap. If you don't sow anything, you're not reaping anything. You're not going to gain anything if you don't put in the work. So it's kind of cool. I think he's a cool, really great role model for that. He shows you that, listen, I'm all for people getting the basis, what we really all need together. But also, I'm all for people putting in the work. And then another question or a comment might be like, it is so irresponsible of you not to vote. Well, I will say to that, listen, let people make their own decision. Let people make their own decision, period. And then after that, somebody might say, but oh my God, you know that what you choose to do or who wins will affect you? Yeah, I do know that. And listen, I've lived under both of those parties. Throughout the entire time, both of those parties I've lived under. And it has not been comfortable during either times. Period. It has not been comfortable at all. So for me, it's like it doesn't faze me anymore when you say I will be affected. Of course I will. Everybody will to some extent. But I don't think one is better than the other. I really don't see that. it's hard even to see it that way, because the moment you see it that way, bam, something hits you. Something pops up that's like, oh, not cool. And then another person might say, well, how come you have the right to vote while others don't, and you don't use that right? Well, it doesn't mean that I always have the right to do something, that I should do it. I don't believe that for everything. No, I don't believe in everything that I always have to react. I always have to say something. I don't believe that for everything in life. No. Voting especially, no. How about we just choose the lesser evil? Well, the thing that I've noticed about both parties is that they're negative. The one thing that's really just negative about them really outweighs the good that they want to do, and sometimes even it defocuses them from doing that good thing which they could actually do that would actually unite us versus divide us. Everybody's taking care of something they shouldn't probably take care of, while they could be good at taking care of another aspect, another topic. So it's complicated having to think about, oh yeah, maybe the lesser evil. Someone might ask, then you want perfection then? No, I don't want perfection. I want some amount of balance. I want us to agree on something to some extent, something that can help, if not all of us, then the majority of us, really important topics that affects all of us. And then others might say, so you're 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You're lukewarm, like why you should be all in, Well, the thing is, it's not easy to be all in when there is something wrong, obviously wrong, but oh no, it's not seen as wrong. Oh no, it shouldn't be labeled as wrong. You know what I'm saying? When there's something that's obviously wrong, when the people themselves don't want to acknowledge that on both sides, I think it's tough then, to say that I'm all in on one side versus the other. Yeah. And then others might say, but you Christian and Christianity, some things in there is not good, right? And Christians can be so rude and so mean. Well, this is why you gotta follow Christ. And that's what I strive to do. It's his followers who are perfect. It's Christ who is perfect. That's why, listen, like I told you about, even pastors, ministers, or whoever, Christians, using Bible verses to make people think the way they want them to think for selfish ambitions. I could see something like that and be pissed off and totally turn away from anything that has to do with God at all. But no, I think this is where I'm thankful I have a personal relationship with Christ, where I seek Christ. I seek to do things like him. That's what it means to be Christian, Christ-like. I strive for that. That's why when I see things like that, I look now at them as, oh, that's the human being that made the mistake. Yeah. So there's a difference there. And I think that, Christ is why Christianity exists. He's why, it's powerful, it's truthful, he's why it's relevant in any time. It can be as relevant today as it was for years. And then another might say, separate politics and your faith or your feelings. Okay, this is a separation of church and state. This is politics, baby. It's how it is. I get it. Politics, I'm not going to get into what politics is all about. But you will not tell me that it's completely possible for you to remove your feelings and stuff in connection to politics. We are human beings. A lot of the things we do are feeling driven, period. We all have experiences. And those experiences, they ignite in us a type of feeling, a type of reaction, either if it's pain or anger or joy. And so that's why we're even passionate about topics, passionate about doing stuff for people, because we feel it on the inside. And sometimes there's something deeper than just even feelings, something deeper that, you know, you can call whatever, supernatural, something in the atmosphere, the universe, whatever, you know, that's deep inside that you can't explain. To me, it's faith. And so feelings and stuff drive a lot of our decisions. Even the people in politics, a lot of their decisions are driven by feelings. That's just a reality, because they're human beings. You know, they're human beings just like all of us. I'm telling you, you won't be able to just stick to the numbers and statistics. You will always be driven somewhere or another by feelings. Feelings usually that are based upon a past experience. So that's why it's like, I find it difficult when people talk about separation of church and state. It might be something that can be done to some extent, but I think you can't completely have those two things separate. It always, one always plays a part in the other. It's crazy, but that's really, I think, as humans, that we allow that. But that's how we are. We're emotional beings. We really are. And then someone might say, you're not gonna always get your way, you know. I get that, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to get my way. The thing is, I'm trying to see if we can get to a unified message, you know, a unified goal, to have some amount of peace between us, to agree peacefully to some extent on something, you know. It's possible. So that's what I would like to see. Yeah. So that's a little bit of the reason why I did not vote. Now, this doesn't go to say that I will never vote. No. I believe I will vote, because I think to some extent it shows, it reflects, at least it gives me a feeling that I have some amount of say, some amount of influence in what happens. And I think also, especially if I do find someone that really embodies at least to some of what I said to some extent, I think it's not bad to, you know, put in a vote in there to just kind of propel him or her to the top. I think that's fine. It's just that I just wish there are more options that are really able to make it to the top. And because the two options that are up there right now are both toxic. And toxic is not good. And there you have it. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Make sure that you stay connected with CreyTV via Facebook, or via Instagram, or via YouTube. Go ahead and let me know on the comment section if you voted, or if you didn't vote it, go ahead and let me know why, or, you know, just whatever else pops in your mind, just go ahead and let me know. Once again, thank you for watching, and remember always, like I say in all my videos, you are the best. All right, bye.